The African penguin, the last call of the ocean's comedian. A constant Africa Travel Solutions wildlife feature with supplied videos. Chapter 1. The Call of the Cape. On the rugged shores of southern Africa, where the Atlantic and Indian Oceans collide, lies a world both beautiful and wild. Here, along the Cape Peninsula and beyond, thousands of small tuxedo-clad birds waddle across white sand and black rock, Africa's only penguin species. Meet the African penguin, Spheniscus demesis, known lovingly as the jackass penguin, for its loud, braying call that sounds like a donkey's cry echoing through the surf. But beneath the comical charm lies a story of strength, devotion, and survival, a story that stretches back millions of years. These are no ordinary penguins. They have traded ice for sunshine, snow for sand, and Antarctic chill for the blazing heat of the African coast. This is the African penguin, resilient, resourceful, and utterly unforgettable. Chapter 2. Life between two oceans. The African penguin lives in one of the most unique marine ecosystems on Earth, the meeting point of the warmer Gullah Current and the cold Benguela Current. This cold current, sweeping up from Antarctica, brings with it rich nutrients that feed vast schools of sardines and anchovies, the penguin's favorite meals. Each morning, as dawn breaks, thousands of penguins dive into the waves, streamlined, sleek, and fast. Underwater, they become torpedoes, reaching speeds of up to 20 kilometers per hour, chasing their prey with astonishing precision. They can dive as deep as 130 meters and stay submerged for over 2 minutes, though most of the dives are short, quick bursts, a blur of bubbles and motion beneath the waves. And unlike other seabirds, African penguins don't rely on air pockets in their feathers. They compress the air before diving, making them neutrally buoyant and perfectly designed for speed. Each penguin consumes roughly half a kilogram of fish every day, a small appetite for such tireless hunters, yet vital for their survival. But it's not just about feeding themselves. Many swim dozens of kilometers each day, then return home to feed their chicks, loyal, patient, and fiercely family-oriented. Chapter 3. Dressed for Success. There's no mistaking an African penguin. Their iconic black and white plumage is more than just charming, it's camouflage. The dark back blends with the ocean depths when seen from above, while the white belly disappears against the bright surface when seen from below, a natural defense called countershading. Each penguin has a unique pattern of black spots on its chest, just like human fingerprints. No two are alike. Scientists can identify individuals by these markings alone. And those rosy patches above their eyes. They're not decoration, they're thermoregulatory glands. As the penguin overheats under the African sun, blood flows through these glands to cool down, turning the patches a deeper pink. On hot days, they pant like dogs, spread their flippers to release heat, and often seek shade under rocks or bushes. Imagine it, a penguin standing under an African sun, its shadow stretching across the sand, its eyes glinting against the roar of the surf. It's a sight that never fails to amaze. Chapter 4. Partners for Life. African penguins are romantics at heart. They mate for life, returning to the same partner and the same nesting site year after year. Their courtship is a delicate dance of calls, bows, and synchronized movements, a bond reinforced through affection and loyalty. Once bonded, the pair takes turns incubating their eggs, often 2 at a time, for about 40 days. When the chicks hatch, both parents share feeding duties. They regurgitate partially digested fish into the eager mouths of the young, a daily ritual that cements their family bond. And even in the chaos of the colony, with thousands of braying penguins crowding the beach, each chick recognizes its parent's voice instantly. Their calls echo like laughter across the rocks, a wild chorus of love and survival. At sites like Boulders Beach near Cape Town or Stony Point in Betty's Bay, you can stand just meters away as these families waddle, squawk, and preen under the African sun, a reminder that love exists even in the harshest of environments. Chapter 5. Home is where the burrow is. African penguins are burrow nesters by nature. Long ago, they used the soft guano, seabird droppings that form thick layers on the islands, to dig cool, insulated burrows for their eggs. But centuries of guano mining stripped these islands bare, leaving penguins exposed to the sun and predators. Today, many build nests from pebbles, vegetation, and sand, simple shelters against the blazing heat. In places like Dasson Island, Robben Island, and St. Croix Island, conservationists have introduced artificial nest boxes, life-saving homes that protect eggs from heat and seagulls. And yet, even in adversity, the penguin persists, adapting, rebuilding, surviving. Each nest is a testament to their determination, a fragile fortress against the odds. Chapter 6. The Great Swimmers of the South. African penguins are not built for land. Their short legs and waddling gait make them clumsy on the beach, but in the ocean, they are masters of grace. Underwater, they fly, with their flippers, twisting and turning through the currents like black and white bullets. They can cover up to 60 kilometers in a single hunting trip, sometimes venturing as far as 20 kilometers from shore. They hunt alone or in small groups, but when sardine runs sweep through the Cape Coast, hundreds join together in synchronized frenzy, a living wave of precision and instinct. Above them, gannets dive like missiles, dolphins herd the fish, and whales glide by in the deep, an entire marine ballet playing out beneath the African sky. This is where the penguin truly belongs, not on the ice, but in the blue heart of the ocean. Chapter 7. Enemies beneath and above. Life for the African penguin is far from easy. Every dive could mean danger. Below the waves, sharks, fur seals, and killer whales lurk, ready to strike. On land, mongoose, kelp gulls, and domestic cats threaten their eggs and chicks. But the greatest threat of all is one they can't see: humans. Overfishing has depleted sardine and anchovy stocks, forcing penguins to swim further for food. Oil spills coat their feathers, breaking the waterproof seal that keeps them warm. Climate change warms the ocean, shifting fish populations away from their colonies. Once, over 1 million African penguins filled the islands around the Cape. Today, fewer than 20,000 breeding pairs remain. Without help, they could vanish within our lifetime. But hope still lives here, in the tireless work of conservationists, rangers, and tour operators who believe that education and sustainable tourism can turn the tide. Chapter 8. The Ocean's Engineers. Few realize that penguins are architects of the sea. The guano fertilizes the rocky soil, nourishing plants that anchor the fragile coastal ecosystem. Their abandoned burrows become shelters for lizards, insects, and seabirds. Even their presence influences the ocean by controlling fish populations and supporting the vast web of life along the southern African coast. In a way, they're not just surviving in this environment, they're shaping it. The African penguin is proof that small creatures can have a big impact. Chapter 9. The Journey of Survival. Every year, African penguins undergo a dramatic transformation, the molt. For about 3 weeks, they shed all their feathers and grow new ones. During this time, they can't swim or hunt, leaving them stranded on land, hungry and vulnerable. Before molting, they gorge on fish, nearly doubling their weight to survive the fast. They appear ragged, tired, and oddly scruffy, a reminder that beauty in nature often comes at a price. Once the new plumage is in, they return to the sea, sleek, shiny, and renewed. It's a cycle of endurance, an annual ritual of rebirth. Chapter 10. Islands of Hope. In the cool morning light, the islands off South Africa's coast come alive with sound, the chatter of gulls, the honking of penguins, the crash of waves. Places like Boulders Beach, Dyer Island, Robben Island, St. Croix, and Bird Island have become sanctuaries, safe havens for breeding colonies. Here, conservationists monitor nests, rescue oiled birds, and rehabilitate injured penguins before releasing them back into the wild. Visitors can walk along wooden boardwalks just meters away, watching these extraordinary birds live their daily lives, swimming, courting, calling, and caring. Every visit supports local conservation and sends a message: wildlife matters. For travelers with Constant Africa Travel Solutions, these encounters aren't just about sightseeing, they're about connection. Standing on the same beaches where penguins have lived for centuries, you feel part of something greater, a shared responsibility to protect the wonders of our planet. Chapter 11. Voices of the Future. The African penguin story is not over, it's being written right now. In rescue centers like SANCCOB in Cape Town, dedicated teams hand-raise orphan chicks, clean oiled birds, and educate visitors about marine conservation. Each rescued penguin carries a tag, a story of second chances. Some are released back to their colonies. Others become ambassadors, helping humans understand the urgency of saving the seas. Children visit, eyes wide, as they watch penguins dive and play, the next generation inspired to care, protect, and act. Because the survival of these birds depends not just on scientists or governments, but on all of us. Chapter 12. The Spirit of the Sea. As the sun sets over the Cape, the ocean glows gold. A lone penguin stands on a rock, gazing toward the horizon. The waves crash around it, relentless, eternal. In its reflection, we see our own story, a struggle between survival and change, between nature's rhythm and humanity's reach. The African penguin has endured volcanic ages, ice ages, and countless storms. It has shared this coastline with whales, dolphins, seals, and humans for millions of years. And still, it endures. Chapter 13. The Penguin That Stole Africa's Heart. There's something magnetic about the African penguin. Maybe it's the comical waddle, their expressive eyes, or their fearless dives into the unknown. Or maybe it's because they remind us of what we've lost, and what we can still protect. At Boulders Beach, where granite rocks rise like ancient guardians, hundreds of penguins gather. Tourists laugh as one waddles between their feet, photographers crouch, mesmerized. Yet beneath the laughter is awe, the realization that these aren't just animals, they're ambassadors of the wild. Each flap, each call, each daring dive into the surf is a declaration of life's persistence. Chapter 14. The Human Connection. The African penguin's future lies in human hands. Through sustainable tourism, responsible fishing, and habitat protection, their story can continue. Every time a traveler books a tour, visits a colony, or donates to conservation, they help ensure these penguins remain part of Africa's living coast. At Constant Africa Travel Solutions, we believe travel can transform not just those who journey, but the world they explore. Join us, and together we'll protect the rhythm of the ocean, the laughter of the penguins, and the beauty of Africa's wild places. Chapter 15. The Last Call of the Ocean's Comedian. Night falls again over the Cape. The penguins gather in their burrows, their calls echoing softly through the dunes. The stars shimmer on the water, ancient witnesses to a timeless story. Somewhere, a chick huddles close to its parent. Somewhere, a penguin dives beneath the moonlight, chasing silverfish through the dark sea. And somewhere, someone is watching, captivated, inspired, ready to help. Because this isn't just the story of a bird. It's the story of balance, of hope, and of our shared connection with the natural world. So, if this journey touched your heart, subscribe to our channel for more incredible African wildlife stories. And when you're ready to experience the magic for yourself, get in touch with Constant Africa Travel Solutions to plan your unforgettable adventure, from penguins at Boulders Beach to elephants in the Kruger, from sunrise safaris to starlit savannas. Africa is calling, the penguins are waiting, and their laughter, that unmistakable bray, reminds us that even in the wildest places, joy endures. This has been the African penguin, the last call of the ocean's comedian. A celebration of resilience, love, and the enduring spirit of Africa's only penguin. Chapter 16. Born of Fire and Ice. Long before humans ever walked the Cape, the ancestors of today's African penguin swam these same cold waters. Their lineage stretches back 60 million years, to a time just after the dinosaurs vanished. Penguins once filled the world's southern oceans, from Peru to New Zealand, adapting to climates of every kind. But only one chose Africa's sun-soaked coast, a bold, evolutionary experiment that defied expectation. Most penguins evolved to endure cold. The African penguin evolved to endure contrast, blistering heat by day, frigid waters by dawn. They are living fossils of adaptability, bridging two worlds that seem incompatible, fire and ice. And yet, for all their resilience, even evolution can't prepare them for everything humanity has brought. Chapter 17. The Map of Survival. From the Namibian Skeleton Coast to Algoa Bay in South Africa, colonies dot more than 24 islands and coastal areas. Each colony is its own microcosm, a delicate balance of geography, temperature, and fish supply. Some, like Dyer Island, echo with the calls of thousands of birds. Others, once thriving, now lie eerily silent, remnants of colonies lost to overfishing and changing currents. Scientists use satellite tracking to map their foraging routes, elegant blue lines that stretch out into the sea like ribbons. What they've discovered is astonishing. African penguins can travel over 1,000 kilometers between feeding and breeding seasons. They're explorers of the current, guided not by sight, but by instinct and magnetic memory. Every dive is a calculation. Every return to shore, a triumph of navigation older than human civilization itself. Chapter 18. Symphony of the Sea, the Sardine Run. Every winter, along South Africa's east coast, the ocean explodes into life. Billions of sardines form a massive, swirling migration, the Sardine Run, one of the largest animal movements on Earth. For the African penguin, it's a feast beyond compare. Tens of thousands gather offshore, darting through silver walls of fish as dolphins, gannets, and sharks join the frenzy. Underwater, it's chaos, a tornado of motion. But watch closely, and you'll see grace in the madness. Penguins coordinate, diving and herding fish with precision that rivals any predator. It's nature's grand orchestra, and the penguin, small but relentless, plays the lead violin. Yet as ocean temperatures shift with climate change, this great migration is becoming unpredictable. Without these fish, the penguin's future darkens. Chapter 19. The Heat of the Cape. Imagine standing in a black and white suit under the African sun, 30 degrees Celsius, no breeze, no shade. For the African penguin, heat is a constant battle. To survive, they've developed one of the most fascinating cooling systems in the animal kingdom. They open their beaks and flutter their throats to evaporate heat, a behavior called gular fluttering. They stretch their flippers away from their bodies, releasing warmth through the bare skin beneath their feathers. But even that isn't always enough. On particularly hot days, some wade into the surf, letting the cold Atlantic water soak through the dense feathers, cooling them from the inside out. In a land of lions and heat, these penguins remain cool-headed survivors. Chapter 20. The Chicks of Summer. The breeding season peaks in February and March, when colonies erupt into life. Everywhere you look, peeping chicks, devoted parents, and rival males squabbling for nesting sites. Newborns are covered in soft, smoky grey down. For the first month, they depend entirely on their parents for food. But within weeks, they grow restless, exploring the colony, flapping stubby wings, mimicking the dives they'll one day perfect. When they're ready, they embark on the juvenile journey, leaving the colony to spend 2 to 3 years at sea. Some travel as far as Mozambique, following fish before eventually returning to their birthplace to breed. Many never make it back, lost to predators or exhaustion. Those that do are the survivors, the next generation of this coastal dynasty. Chapter 21. Masters of Navigation. African penguins are guided by stars, magnetism, and the pulse of the planet. Their brains contain magnetite crystals, enabling them to sense Earth's magnetic field, a built-in compass. They navigate with uncanny precision, returning to the same nesting site year after year, even after long absences at sea. Some scientists believe they can also recognize coastlines by sound, using the roar of waves and echoes of surf to locate home. It's an ancient ability, part science, part mystery, proof that the natural world holds wisdom we are only beginning to understand. Chapter 22. The penguin's predicament. Storms are becoming more violent. Rains wash away nests, flood burrows, and drown eggs. Warming oceans push fish further offshore, forcing penguins to swim longer distances. In Namibia, the once thriving colony at Halifax Island has dwindled to a fraction of its former size. In South Africa, Robben Island's numbers have dropped by over 80% in the last 20 years. Each statistic hides a story: a chick unfed, an egg unhatched, a parent lost at sea. Conservationists are racing against time, studying ways to restore fish stocks, rebuild habitats, and establish marine protected areas. And still, the penguin perseveres, stubborn, hopeful, refusing extinction. Chapter 23. Penguins and People, a Shared Shoreline. No other penguin species lives so close to humans. African penguins nest beside boardwalks, car parks, and homes, often within sight of cafes and beachgoers. At Boulders Beach, they've learned to coexist with people, waddling confidently between sunbathers and towels. Their fearlessness is both charming and risky. A simple plastic bag or fishing hook can become deadly. But this proximity also creates connection. Children laugh as penguins waddle past. Tourists lean in awe as one dives into the surf. And every moment like that, every spark of wonder, is a seed of conservation. Because people protect what they love. Chapter 24. The Fisherman's Friends and Foes. For generations, coastal communities have relied on the same fish the penguins depend on. Sardines, anchovies, and pilchards are lifelines for both species. In recent years, scientists and fishermen have begun collaborating, adjusting fishing zones during breeding season to give penguins a fighting chance. It's a fragile truce between tradition and survival, but it's working. In areas where fishing restrictions were applied, penguin chick survival doubled. Balance, that's the key. And in that balance lies the hope that both humans and penguins can share the sea without destroying it. Chapter 25. Secrets Beneath the Feathers. Each African penguin's feather count averages around 70 feathers per square inch, one of the densest coats in the bird world. These tiny feathers interlock perfectly, creating a watertight armor. Beneath the feathers lies a layer of fat, thin compared to Antarctic penguins, but vital for insulation. They preen constantly, coating each feather in oil from a gland near their tail. Without this oil, water would seep in, and the penguin could quickly freeze, even in the warm African sea. Nature's engineering at its finest, aerodynamic, waterproof, and self-repairing. Chapter 26. The Language of the Colony. African penguins are not silent. They communicate constantly: honks, brays, growls, and soft purrs. Each sound has meaning: a call to a mate, a warning to an intruder, a chick's cry for food. Scientists have catalogued over 12 distinct vocalizations, an entire language of the colony. In dense breeding grounds, noise is essential. A mother can locate her chick among thousands simply by recognizing its voice. In that chaos of sound lies incredible order, a living symphony of survival. Chapter 27. Africa's Cold Ocean, the Benguela Current. To understand the penguin, we must understand its ocean. The Benguela Current, flowing northward along Africa's west coast, is one of the richest marine ecosystems on Earth. Fueled by Antarctic upwelling, it brings cold, nutrient-packed water to the surface, feeding plankton, fish, seals, whales, and of course, penguins. But even this mighty current is changing. Warming seas threaten to disrupt its delicate rhythm, shifting food sources hundreds of kilometers away. When the ocean falters, the penguin falters too. Their lives are threads woven into the same blue tapestry that binds all living things. Chapter 28. Oil, Plastic, and Peril. Few images are as heartbreaking as a penguin drenched in oil, feathers matted, eyes dull. Oil spills, like the MV Treasure disaster of 2000, coated over 20,000 African penguins in sludge. Volunteers worked day and night to clean and release them, the largest animal rescue operation in history. Over 90% survived, a triumph of human compassion. But pollution remains a shadow. Plastics, fishing lines, and microfibers infiltrate every part of their world. The challenge isn't awareness, it's action. Chapter 29. The smartest of the flock. African penguins are highly intelligent, capable of recognizing individual humans and problem-solving during captivity studies. They learn routes, anticipate feeding times, and even fish herd cooperatively using subtle cues. Their memory spans years. Mates separated by seasons still recognize each other by voice and scent. They display empathy, calming distressed chicks, sharing shade, even adopting orphaned young. In a world that often underestimates animals, these penguins remind us that intelligence wears many forms. Chapter 30. The future we choose. By 2035, projections suggest African penguins could vanish from the wild without intervention. But this is not a prophecy, it's a warning. Every step taken toward conservation matters, every marine reserve established, every sustainable fishery, every eco-tour booked in good faith. At Constant Africa Travel Solutions, our mission is more than showing you Africa's beauty, it's preserving it. When travelers witness penguins diving under a crimson sunset or feeding their chicks at dawn, something awakens, a connection that no statistic can erase. Because the greatest defense against extinction is love. The eternal coast. The tide rolls in, gentle and eternal. Penguins gather at the water's edge, their reflections trembling in the surf. Behind them, the cliffs of the Cape glow gold. Before them, the Atlantic stretches to infinity. For millions of years, they've stood here, resilient, unyielding, alive. The African penguin is more than a species. It's a symbol of endurance, of hope, of the wild still beating at the heart of our world. And its story is far from over. This has been the African penguin, the last call of the ocean's comedian. A journey through Africa's coastal soul, where the sea sings, the penguins dance, and the future waits to be written. Chapter 31. Shadows of the Past, Penguins and Ancient Explorers. Centuries before penguins were studied by scientists, they were encountered by explorers and sailors charting the African coast. Early Portuguese navigators in the 1400s recorded strange birds that swam like fish near what is now Lüderitz and Table Bay. At first, sailors mistook them for fish. When they discovered they had feathers, they tried to eat them. Penguin meat was tough and oily, yet, in those days before refrigeration, they were seen as a convenient food source for long voyages. By the 18th century, tens of thousands were hunted for food and oil. Guano was scraped from their breeding islands, destroying nesting grounds. Yet somehow, the penguins endured, quietly surviving human curiosity, greed, and ignorance. Their persistence through centuries of contact is a story rarely told, a testament to endurance in the face of progress. Chapter 32. The Science of Adaptation. Beneath their charming exterior, African penguins are marvels of biology. Their bones are denser than most birds, reducing buoyancy and allowing them to dive with precision. Their blood chemistry is specially adapted to store oxygen efficiently, enabling long dives without fatigue. Their eyes are tuned to detect contrast underwater. They see shades of blue and silver with remarkable clarity, helping them track fast-moving fish even in murky light. They even have a salt gland above their eyes that filters seawater from their bloodstream, allowing them to drink directly from the ocean. Each time they shake their heads, a tiny droplet of brine is expelled through their nostrils, nature's built-in desalination system. Every detail of their anatomy is a story of adaptation, a reminder that life finds a way to thrive in the most unlikely places. Chapter 33. The Eyes of the Scientists. In modern times, the African penguin has become one of the most studied seabirds on the continent. Biologists tag individuals with microchips and tiny GPS trackers to map feeding routes and monitor survival rates. From this, we've learned that penguins respond immediately to ocean changes. They are sentinels of the sea, revealing shifts in climate and fish abundance long before human technology can. When sardine stocks collapse, penguins stop breeding. When sea temperatures rise, they relocate northward, searching for cooler currents. They are living indicators, nature's early warning system, helping scientists predict and understand the health of Africa's marine ecosystems. Chapter 34. The Art and Symbolism of the Penguin. Across cultures, penguins have become icons of resilience and humor, but in southern Africa, they hold deeper meaning. Local artists carve them into wood, paint them in coastal murals, and use their likeness in jewelry and sculpture, symbols of balance and adaptation. To the San and Nama peoples, who have shared this land for millennia, animals are spiritual messengers. The penguin, standing upright and loyal to its mate, represents devotion, partnership, and endurance through hardship. Modern travelers see them as symbols of joy, a reminder that even the smallest creatures can carry the weight of wonder. In every culture they touch, penguins leave an impression far larger than their size. Chapter 35. The Hidden Ocean Crisis. Below the calm surface of the Cape's turquoise waters, a quiet crisis brews. Warming currents are driving the trophic shift, the movement of fish populations away from traditional feeding zones. Anchovies and sardines are migrating eastward toward Port Elizabeth, leaving western colonies near Cape Town hungry. Penguin parents must now travel 2 or 3 times further to find food, burning precious energy while chicks wait at home. Some conservationists call them the miner's canary of the sea. When penguins struggle, it's a sign that the ocean itself is out of balance. Protecting them means protecting the invisible systems that keep all marine life alive. Chapter 36. Behind the Rescue, the Heroes of SANCCOB. In a quiet corner near Table View, Cape Town, a small facility hums with life. This is SANCCOB, the Southern African Foundation for the Conservation of Coastal Birds. Here, dedicated teams of veterinarians, volunteers, and marine biologists care for injured and orphaned penguins around the clock. Each bird receives a name, a tag, and a second chance. They are hand-fed fish, nursed through oil contamination, and trained to swim again in saltwater pools before being released back into the wild. Some have even been flown hundreds of kilometers by air to safer colonies, tiny passengers with enormous significance. Since its founding, SANCCOB has saved over 100,000 seabirds, proving that compassion, when organized, can rewrite extinction. Chapter 37. Education, the power of the next generation. Saving penguins isn't just about science, it's about hearts and minds. Across South Africa, schools now include marine conservation programs that teach children how to protect coastlines. At Boulders Beach, local guides lead workshops where children meet penguins face to face, learning about pollution, ocean plastics, and why every choice matters. For many, that first moment, a penguin waddling past their shoes, sparks a lifelong commitment to nature. And those children grow up to become the next scientists, rangers, and conservationists of Africa's coast. The future of the penguin may depend on them. Chapter 38. The Whispering Wind, Communication Beyond Sound. Recent research has uncovered that African penguins communicate not only through calls but also through body language and vibrational cues. When 2 penguins bow, it's not mere politeness, it's reassurance, a ritual of trust. Chicks sense vibrations in the sand when parents return from the sea, even before hearing them. They tilt their heads, flap, and mirror each other's movements in social bonding displays. This subtle, silent communication strengthens the colony, proof that emotion and connection exist in every form of life, if we only know how to listen. Chapter 39. Tracking the Wanderers. Some penguins have been tracked traveling hundreds of kilometers into open ocean between Namibia and South Africa. Using satellite technology, scientists discovered that penguins navigate by following temperature fronts, invisible highways where warm and cold waters meet. Along these lines, life flourishes, plankton, fish, and predators gather. For penguins, these fronts are floating restaurants in the open sea. The journey is perilous, storms, predators, and exhaustion await, but somehow, they always find their way back home. No GPS, no compass, just instinct, memory, and the eternal call of the Cape. Chapter 40. The Web of Life. Every penguin is part of a vast network. The guano feeds algae and coastal plants. Their uneaten fish feed scavengers. Their presence attracts tourists, which in turn funds protection for reefs and beaches. When you save a penguin, you're not just saving a bird. You're preserving an entire web of life, from plankton to predators, from coral to coastline. Nature never acts alone, everything is connected. Chapter 41. Rewilding the Forgotten Islands. Far offshore lie the neglected islands, once vibrant penguin sanctuaries, now empty or overtaken by gulls and seals. Conservationists are experimenting with acoustic attraction, playing recorded penguin calls to lure young birds back to historical breeding sites. In some cases, it's working. Within months, curious penguins appear, exploring the rocks, calling in response, and eventually nesting. Chapter 42. Penguins and Tourism, a Delicate Dance. Tourism brings opportunity and responsibility. Every year, thousands of visitors travel to Boulders Beach, eager to see the penguins up close. Managed properly, this tourism funds protection, supports jobs, and fuels awareness. But unmanaged, it can disturb nesting birds, spread litter, and erode fragile dunes. That's why Constant Africa Travel Solutions partners only with eco-certified tours, ensuring every encounter is respectful, sustainable, and guided by trained professionals. We believe travel should protect, not exploit. Because the most powerful souvenir you can bring home is respect for the wild. Chapter 43. Allies of the Reef. Few people know that African penguins indirectly protect coral reefs. The guano enriches coastal waters with nitrogen and phosphorus, feeding microscopic plankton, the foundation of the marine food chain. Healthy plankton means thriving fish stocks, which support reef life further north. In this way, a colony on the Cape can influence ecosystems hundreds of kilometers away. They are tiny gardeners of the sea, unseen but essential. Chapter 44. Adaptation in Motion. Even today, African penguins are changing, slowly, subtly. In recent decades, researchers have documented shifts in their breeding season, migration timing, and even body size in response to ocean warming. Some populations are producing smaller chicks with faster growth cycles, nature's attempt to adapt to dwindling food sources. A rare chance to witness life adjusting under pressure. Chapter 45. Cousins across the world. Though unique to Africa, the African penguin shares ancestry with 4 other, banded, species: the Magellanic penguin of South America, the Galapagos penguin, the Humboldt penguin, and the extinct Waitaha penguin of New Zealand. All evolved from a common ancestor that once circled the southern hemisphere. Their similarities, black facial bands, pink eye patches, are evolutionary echoes of that shared past. Each species tells a different story of isolation, climate, and survival. Together, they form a living map of Earth's shifting continents and ancient seas. Before you scroll away, take a moment to remember the journey you've just witnessed. The rhythm of Africa's wild heart, the laughter of the penguins, and the spirit of adventure calling across sunlit shores. This isn't just a video, it's an invitation. An invitation to see Africa not through a screen, but through your own eyes. To walk the beaches where the African penguins waddle beneath the sun, to feel the pulse of the Kalahari under your feet, and to watch the Big Five roam the plains at sunset. At Constant Africa Travel Solutions, we don't just create tours, we craft experiences. Whether you're dreaming of custom adventures built around your schedule and interests, or prefer one of our expertly designed wildlife tours through South Africa, Namibia, Tanzania, Kenya, or Botswana, your next great story begins with us. And here's your reward for being part of our journey. By subscribing to our channel and following us online, you'll unlock access to exclusive travel offers, early bird discounts, and subscriber-only deals on safaris, coastal getaways, and private wildlife expeditions. Your next adventure could be closer and more affordable than you think. So, go ahead, subscribe now, like this video, share it with a fellow explorer. Then visit our website or contact our team to start planning your own unforgettable African experience. From penguin colonies on the Cape to sunset safaris in Kruger, from Namibian dunes to the plains of the Serengeti, we'll take you there, safely, passionately, and personally. Because Africa isn't just a destination, it's a feeling, and it's waiting for you. Constant Africa Travel Solutions, where your adventure becomes a lifelong memory.